Triforce. Enjoy the show.
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
With his penis.
Which is impressive. And prospectively, probably peculiar.
To say the least.
It has grip?
His did.
You even cracked a smile, Katarina, on that one.
You broke cat.
When you're good, you're good.
No better way to start off the show. And welcome, Purjangers and Wallhangers fans, or as we call you, Walljangers, to the 351st Purjangers and Wallhangers Media Network presentation. We are none other than the Triforce Podcast, of course. I am your host, Matthew Bucarell, the Mat Man. And next to me in the box is our wonderful woman, Katarina Thermascara. And of course, below me, but never anything else but above me, is one Christopher Bristow, the old man, and his daughter.
Number two.
Yes, Captain.
And of course, all around us is our omnipotent presence that is Big Brother, Stephen Bucarell. But
Until I run out of hot chocolate.
we gather here for the same reason, which is tonight. One Punch for a third season. James Gunn wants connectivity. And a primitive Unreal 5 Stone Age. And so much more on the Triforce Podcast. We're going to hop on over to our first story that we're going to talk about here, which is none other than Man Season 3. It's been about 3 years since the second season has wrapped up on the silver screen. Crunchyroll have reported that the third season of the show will be going into production. Key visuals drawn by the character designer Kakashi Kabuta, and was posted alongside the announcement with the visual art of Saitama and Garo. It doesn't actually involve any kind of teasers or what the season will actually involve, so there still may be no plot whatsoever. Like season 2. And kind of season 1. I mean, the whole show never really had a plot. You just got it at the name. One Punch Man. What does he do?
Yeah.
Kills everybody in one punch.
Actually, he makes a mad cappuccino.
He knows how to clip coupons out in savings. Okay?
Seriously.
And also go after mosquitoes.
Yeah, that too.
That one didn't go out.
Those are important skills.
But what are you hoping for with a season 3? Besides my epic just plea for any kind of a plot whatsoever.
Season 4.
For Connor to laugh hysterically. That's all I want.
You know what? I also want a better intro. Like season 1. That season 2 intro was lame.
Yeah, but so I like it because of a different reason, only because Connor just laughs hysterically when it cuts from that, like, the serious to like the deadpan joking. He just goes yeah, it's just hilarious.
Okay.
So from a dad point of view,
All right.
I enjoy it.
You're allowed to have your dad point of view because you have that buddy of mine over there enjoying it. So it's a younger perspective than my old curmudgeon-y viewpoint of anime and animation.
Are you saying that you're becoming more the old man than I am?
You predicted it, not me.
I did.
I'll tell you one thing you didn't predict. That's this next story. Transformers, Beast Wars are about to hit our screen with Transformers Rise of the Beast trailer popping up. Here's my thing. I love the biggie that they put in the trailer. I don't really appreciate. Now, I know it's being nitpicky. The one thing about Transformers is that they are robots in disguise, right? If you look at the comparison to Cheetor and Bumblebee in this trailer, they're about... Cheetor's about the size of a fucking Peterbilt.
We're robots wide open.
Look how big that goddamn gorilla is!
It's supposed to be the size of a gorilla.
Oh, he's just King Kong. You didn't know? Optimus
I
Primal's
didn't
King
know we're
Kong.
robots in the spirit in the sky.
Oh my gosh.
Don't give them ideas. That's where the musical comes. Beast Wars, the musical.
Ready for the All Spark.
Oh boy.
So one thing that we can rule out right here, because it's
Reach
in
for the stars.
the story here, is that Optimus and Bumblebee are in there. Obviously, other kinds of like Mirage here, other kinds of Transformers are going to be in there. There's no way you're going to see a Predacon. They're not going to be in it. Instead, the antagonist this time around will be the Terrorcons.
Really?
Which sounds like a bad Comic-Con event. You know what I mean?
It sounds like a bad.
Come on down to Terrorcons in Detroit.
Sounds like a bad hairband.
No, that's DC.
Anywhere in
Wow.
anywhere in Philly
Just saying.
nowadays.
Shots fired.
I mean, Terrorcons. That's the best you came up with. Which, all right, I'll even admit, not bad, but
What about what were the beast enemies?
the Predacons. Yeah, no, those guys that were the Maximal's natural enemies, like the Decepticons to the Autobots. No. Why would you use the natural enemy? Just make up something new. That'll get people to watch.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
They're robots. They don't bleed.
Do you bleed?
No.
I just watched Batman vs Superman. I went through all those movies. They're so great. But I do have hope for this. I mean, I am a huge Beast Wars fan, man. I even went through. I think I've rewatched that at least 2 or 3 times because it tied into original Transformers while being its own thing. And I mean, June 2023 is going to be a hell of a year for films.
See, I remember Beast Wars when it was like, that's when CGI was just starting like in its infancy.
Yep.
It is just as terrible as you remember.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Even worse.
Yeah, no, it is even worse. But the story is so good, man. You know me, it's my thing. My kink is a good story. As long as you got a good story in there, I'm in. And Transformers Beast Wars it had a great story, and that's where you got they got that spinoff. They got that spinoff show to where the Maximals actually got back to Cybertron, and Megatron already messed things up. And they were trying to bring organics back to the technological world. I tapped out at that, but we'll see how this one goes. It may not be all bad. A lot like our next story. Because this is the way. The Mandalorian is going to be returning March 1st, 2023 for a season 3 with our man Grogu. Of course, you see here the trailer they released earlier this year, the teaser trailer. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been teasing not big like hush moments like Grogu was the first episode or Luke was at the end of season 2, but a lot of different stuff. We're getting Mandalore. We're getting a flogging, a cackle. What do you call a group of Mandalorians?
A murder. It's
You know what?
murder.
That actually fits. A murder of Mandalorians.
Or a bounty. A bounty of Mandalorians.
Which do you prefer, bounty or murder? I'm kind of like, I don't know.
A Mundo Amando?
Mundo of Mando.
I say
Mundo
murder.
Amando.
It's good for a title.
It is good for a title.
Many Mandalorians.
But they're teasing, they're teasing kind
Many,
of
many
different stuff.
Mando.
And here we see, Bo-Katan sitting on the throne in Mandalore. We see a boatload of Mandalorians. I mean, just what we're getting with this new season, I can't wait. And they're going to be bringing out surprises and different things to where they're saying that the scope is going to get a lot bigger for this season. And we're going to see a lot more of different stuff That's where I think you're really going to see Mandalorian. Oh God, I'm by myself.
No, look, we got the.
That's where we're really going to see Mandalorian really outshining, because Mandalorian sparked that Star Wars TV show faith.
It did, and it righted the ship of showing what a Star Wars story can actually become.
A live action. And now we have Andor, which is probably the best reviewed Star Wars show or thing in recent anything history. Andor, did you finish it?
I haven't even started.
When you go through it, I got to tell you, man, watching Andor, I will say this. That's my favorite Star Wars anything since the original trilogy. It beats out Rogue One for me. It really, I love what Andor did with their run. And Kat, maybe you'll agree with me. I just said that Andor is my favorite Star Wars anything since the original trilogy.
We can't hear
You're
you.
muted.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
There you go. You know how I feel about Rogue One? So it's hard for me to put anything
Hard.
above that as far as new Star Wars is concerned.
Yeah.
Not touching classic stuff. But Andor is pretty high up there. They were really starting to concern me with what we were getting. And then we got this. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're back in the game.
I said it on social media. I said on this podcast, do we need this? And I will eat my words.
I did
we
too.
absolutely
I did
needed
too,
it.
remember?
We both said
We
it.
were like a burnout. I said I wasn't interested in this story. I flat out said I had no interest
You know what I did?
in this story.
I got on program. See what I did there? I'm on program.
Yes,
Thanks.
I do. I do see what you did.
But it's such a good show because it's leaning into what Rebels did. This is the Empire. This is why these oppressed people said, dude, enough. Like, Andor got away with it. Well, at the end of the day. But you knew that because of Rogue One. You know he's going to live. But his journey throughout the season, you don't know where it's going to end up, because it could literally end up anywhere. It could turn out any way. And the level of writing was expertly done.
I think that they really set the bar way up again. The last trilogy that we had, and some of the shows in here, Book of Boba, and their animated stuff, just wasn't living up to the standard that it had set with the first season of The Mandalorian. So getting this, and of course, Clone Wars and Rebels, that they had already set the bar pretty high, and then it started to kind of falter. And then we're like, we're getting so much content, and they're pushing it out so quickly. We're starting to see the actual quality of the product starting to suffer. And that's why when we talked about Andor, I'm like, I do not care about their story. I already know what I need to know. Like, I saw the part of the story that I needed to see. Do we need to see these people's backstory? Do you remember? Like, we were both like
We did. We dismissed it very
we're
easily.
like we're like burnt out already.
But here's the thing.
Never doubt Star Wars.
I blame Andor.
I will always
on
doubt
Dave Filoni.
everything. They've tricked me too much.
I mean, how much of this do you think is Kathleen Kennedy? Because
You
I
love it
think
all
this
the
is
way down.
mainly Dave Filoni being that creative controller right there for Star Wars.
I don't know, because he had creative control over a lot of other things too that wasn't as successful. I think you can tell when people are passionate about the product that they're putting out. And I also
Yes.
think that with Andor, you have much lesser known characters, so you can go further than you could with, like, say, Book of Boba or even The Mandalorian, because we've already set a storyline for them.
The
So in the later
sets.
seasons,
Each of the scenes that they do are sets. Nothing's in the volume in that show. That's what's impressive. They went to traditional filmmaking on this. And
it paid off. It paid off. So I'm very happy with Andor. I'm so glad that I was wrong.
yeah.
I was
Now,
so glad. I'm very
maybe
glad that I was wrong.
With Bob Chapek being, ushered by security out the door and Bob Iger returning, he looks at this and we kind of course correct some of these misgivings with Star Wars. And he tries to right the ship a bit because there are some rumblings and some rumors. I didn't add into the podcast here, but people are saying that Marvel's now looking at reshaping Phase 5 and 6 because of how poorly Phase 4 was received. Now, overall, I enjoyed Marvel's Phase 4. After Endgame,
Great. Step it up.
if you've ever written anything, you know you got to have some character building after that. You killed off 3 main characters, and you want to expand into a larger universe. So they could have done it better. However, I kind of already chalked this season off, and I'm betting on 5 and 6. Now, them saying, hey, Blade wasn't good enough. We're putting that one on the back burner and going to give you something else. We got Ant-Man. We got, hey, Wakanda Forever, and we're going to have a spinoff of that. They have some good ideas, but the one thing I saw out of this rumor is that they're going to be steering away from TV shows and steering towards that special presentation to where they can just have a segment, of this is the story we want to tell.
I have a thought on that. Could you imagine if they already knew that Chadwick Boseman, I mean, like with everything that was going on with him, he already knew like his time was up. All right. And I'm sure he was pretty much forthright in coming when Infinity War was being in production.
With the actors that are like important, they make them undergo a physical.
Yeah.
They got to inspect them.
So
I learned that from Kevin Smith because after his heart attack, he was like, of course they make me go to a physical.
Yeah. They want to make sure you're not going to die in the middle of
Are you going to die? No.
So why couldn't
good.
Why couldn't we have instead of RDJ passing away at the end of Infinity War, we have Captain America's send off. Spider-Man opens up with RDJ's funeral at Tony Stark's funeral, and going into Spider-Man.
Well, that would have made that last Spider-Man movie where he's moping about fucking Tony Stark all the more sense. Like,
it would have made more sense.
Far From Home is when after Tony died, so it would be Far From Home would be starting off with like Tony's funeral because like he was in the first movie and he was integral in all of Spider-Man's career up until then. So actually having that, but that would take away from the end of that movie of everybody pretty much saying goodbye.
Yeah, but you could still have everybody in that. You can have that scene just segued in, and then that would be your kickoff as saying, here's the start of Phase 4.
From a comedic take, I would have appreciated, like, it starts off, you think you're watching the funeral, but then it pans out, and it's just a bootleg DVD being sold on the corner of New York.
Surprise, motherfuckers!
$10! Tony Stark's funeral, $10! Who videotaped this? Thanks, Wasp. I don't know. Tying it in there. But
where we're going, we don't need roads.
Well, where we're going, we may need a map, though, because our next story...
Oh, that was smooth.
And none other than...
That was a good segue.
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn wants all DC movies, TV, and games to be, air quotes, connected. Giggity.
Great.
So...
I love the deadpan.
Gunn has been speaking to people about his plans for the comic book movies / TV. On November 27th, Gunn tweeted that he and Safran are planning to have DCU connected across movies, television, and animation. A follow-up tweet.
Gunn tweeted and fired and spoke words.
A follow-up tweet put Gunn's video games under the same banner. Now, this is the part of the article I found interesting, is that now connected doesn't necessarily mean a shared universe or even multiverse for that matter. So animated world of Harley Quinn, where Harley Quinn has become recently part of the Bat Fam, doesn't have to square itself against the Snyderverse, where she's just straight dead. Meaning, if you want a Kite Man live action series, you can do it. If you want to have fun with Ben Affleck's Batfleck and Pattinson, you can. But everything's kind of connected. But overall, the one tweet I saw, he had an image of Kingdom Come. And, you know, as far as 10-year plans go, I would love that.
But did he mention Double Shot Tuesday?
He did not mention Double Shot Tuesday.
No?
No. That may be the Parallax storyline for Green Lantern, though. You never know.
Call in for 2 artists that you want to select.
But overall, since we've convened together, James Gunn, not Kevin Gunn, and Peter Safran are the controllers of the DC universe here. How do you guys feel about that? Obviously, I love it.
I mean, he righted Suicide Squad, so let's...
Donked Peacemaker. Peacemaker was an absolute pleasure.
John Cena also helped. So,
and I helped. It's shake and bake. Yeah. He was the chicken. It was the breadcrumbs that you loved.
It was the outtakes that I loved. Yeah, that's all I got. On the UCAT, what do you got to say?
So much. I'm going to be the unpopular opinion here. I'm not crazy about them being in charge of everything. I think that they're good at a specific type of film, what we got for Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, but it's not what I want for my Justice League. Mm-hmm. And I'm concerned. I don't want that style of film for Wonder Woman or Superman or Batman or any of them. What I loved about DC was that it was darker, that it was more serious. And this plays into that humor and gore that everybody's all about with Invincible and Boys. And, you know, it's just, that's just not for me. That's for a specific type of fan, and I'm all for them getting, you know, what they want. It's not my Justice League, so I'm not excited about that.
There's a particular way that DC, like, even if you look at animated or comics, there's a different way they do their content than Marvel, to where DC, yes, you could see is dark, but it's a lot like that Christopher Nolan series, to where they're trying to have their fantasy world in the real world rather.
And I like
Marvel's
that.
More fantasy.
Especially, like, for me, like, very overprotective of how Wonder Woman is portrayed in media in general. I don't like when she's sexualized. I don't like when she's used as the butt of a joke, because that's not the kind of person that she is. That's not the person that I've read about since I was 7 years old. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to see what they're going to do with her and what they're going to do with the Justice League in general. But at the same time, I don't want to be like, oh my God, I already hate it, because I don't know. Just because this is what they did for those 2 projects, which are that lean into that kind of type of film and show, that doesn't mean that that's what they're going to do with all of it. But I don't want us to go like they lean too hard one way, and now I don't want them to now lean too hard in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want the pendulum to fully swing.
No, I don't. And I think that they've done really successfully in their animated series, because they treat the characters and the materials with respect. It's not without humor. It's not without its gore, but at the same time, it's still, I don't know, more respectful than I find a lot of these other shows. Okay. And I know that those shows aren't for me, and I'm not trying to take that away from anyone. But it does make me nervous.
They're niche
about
markets.
What they're going to do.
When you're talking about like The Boys, or even like I avoided this story, Gen V, the spinoff series of The Boys. They had a trailer pop up. Really didn't show anything but a bunch of people with bloody faces. But you're going to expect that from that kind of a show. It's more of a gory, satirical view on superheroes rather than a straight up interpretation of classic material. You know, it's like going to a Shakespearean play versus going, you know, to watch Gallagher.
And, you know, like they have...
Can't watch them anymore.
you have these Jane Austen books like Pride and Prejudice, and then they made Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and those two things can exist separately.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
And yeah, and like you can enjoy both, and I did enjoy both. For me, The Boys, with the more seasons as they continue to try to push that envelope, it becomes less enjoyable for me. And knowing that that's kind of what made Suicide Squad a success this time, and also Peacemakers, them leaning into that more kind of gory, like over the top, overly sexualized thing. It's fine for the things that it fits for. Like, I don't want that for my core Justice League.
So you're saying you don't want to see Batman's dick?
I don't want to see anyone.
That's why they stopped selling that comic. But overall, I think that the stuff that he has done so far has been good, yes. But he has also respected a certain element of the core comics. And just kind of, he did that kind of mature manipulation with like Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, but also with his nerddom. I feel like he's kind of the best choice to have at the top of the pyramid to say, that's a good idea. Because then that's how we get Zack Snyder back in there. Because like I said, I watched Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you watch those three movies, it's just like a triple feature. They're good. It's a great, solid story. But also by the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, you want that next film.
I do want that next film because of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I don't know how much of that is that he got to make. Didn't fully make the first one, but he was in the part of making the first one that came out. Saw what everybody hated and had the opportunity to make it better and give us his opus, for lack of a better word. But he's also done other projects where he said, "Oh, this studio didn't get in the way. I had full." Creative license, I could do whatever I want. And we got that zombie film that was on Netflix that was literally like a 6-year-old pitching a story. Like, I'm gonna have them zombies, but they're gonna have like lasers, and then there's gonna have like metal skin, and we're gonna have that, and it was too much.
I gotta tell you,
there was also some controversy around that.
I proudly fell asleep during that one. I
actually like the addition of Tig Notaro to that film. I think that saved some scenes for me because of the delivery that Tig has in their speech and their inflection and stuff. But yeah, that movie was problematic, and some of his other stuff is problematic too.
Yeah.
I like his ideas, but he just has too many, and that's always been his problem. You can't make every one of your movies 6 hours long for people to get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to tell a concise story too.
You got to have one or two base core ideas, and then just have that and build the story around that. You can't have like 10 or 15 ideas and say, okay, figure it out.
And how can you treat people like they're stupid, but also assume that they know all of the lore? Like, you can't do both. You're over expositioning things that don't need to have exposition. But at the same time, you're assuming people know like the nuances of things that are really important to the plot. Like, pick a struggle. You can't have both. you can't have both. So I'm passionate about this because I am DC first. That was my first love. Wonder Woman was my very first owning of my own comic run. Like, that was the first passionate thing that I had as a kid. And so I am very protective, maybe too much, but I think I'm about as passionate as everybody else that I see on Facebook anyway.
Well, you are our wonderful woman.
And I want them to succeed. I do. I want them to succeed. And if it takes these people taking it into direction that maybe I'm not a big fan of, for them to hit their stride and find their happy medium, then okay. Like, we've suffered long this much, we can continue to suffer for a little bit longer.
You know? Well, one thing you're not going to have to suffer is from hunger if you go to our next story, because our ad segment is about none other than the most delicious delicatessens that you could find in the tri-state area. Of course, it's A+ Catering and Events. Hop on over to apluscaterers.com where you can find all of the premier bites for your next hosting, office, or event need. Just hop on over to apluscaterers.com, and that's where you're going to find the best food for your next event. So we hop on over to the latter half here of our show. And the first one here is we had a bit of a trailer dump here for the Super Mario Brothers movie. There was the main one that popped out showing, Luigi getting his mustache plucked out and a bunch of different areas of Mario being introduced in the Mushroom Kingdom. These two that I've selected actually came from, I think it's like a Swedish or a Dutch site. It was spotted by Go Nintendo, this Dutch TV commercial, subtitled, dialogue in English. It runs for 31 seconds. Pretty much all new footage shows Mario getting introduced to life in the Mushroom Kingdom, particularly their public transport system, which of course are tubes. Pipes, if you will. Good thing for a plumber to be going around in pipes. There's another one, which is a 21-second Spanish commercial showing off a montage of a bunch of different scenes with some Mario and Peach, which is this one here. 2023 is the film's release. Through all the trailers, Chris Pratt's Mario voice is it's Chris Pratt. It's not really the Italian plumber. I mean, I guess, can't get away with that anymore these days. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Super Mario Brothers animated? Is it live action? Animated? I don't know. What do you think about the movie?
Animated movie?
Yeah.
I'll reserve my judgment.
Okay.
Meaning I will wait till it drops on streaming.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to rush out into theaters anytime soon.
I have negative 500 interest in watching this.
I mean, the one thing that I did like, especially about that main trailer that they dropped recently, was, I love Jack Black as Bowser. I think he really...
I think there's some great casting.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Look, I
don't really care.
I will look at the shiny ball before I smash into the building. I'm going to enjoy that shiny ball.
I don't play Mario Brothers to watch a movie.
Now we saw karting. They had the carts. They had Mario getting his shit stomped in by Donkey Kong, which I found enjoyable, which is Smash Brothers. I mean,
if it's on a streaming platform, I'll watch it. But other than that, I really don't care.
I am not even going to watch it on a streaming channel. I will not watch this film.
Wow.
Negative 500 interest.
Negative 500. Hopefully we could pop that like a bull from a bear market to a positive 500.
This is like sincerely something we don't need this. Who asked for this? I want to know who asked for this.
We're not getting an Andor out of this one. This is something we generally didn't need.
If I find out
So we're
who
getting
it was
an
that
not.
asked,
That's what we're getting.
See, you got that in
Ignore him,
stereo.
he's in
That's
it.
how passionate he is.
Double time.
Now,
Right?
I
No.
also said that
No.
I didn't need a Super Pets movie, but I've recently watched that, and I loved that movie.
I would
feel
rather
like
watch the opening sequence of The Boys with my eyes glued open for 6 months straight than watch that movie.
the Super Pets movie, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is Crypto. The way that he interacts, like with Krypton, or with Crypto for Superman, because Crypto is like, he's my best friend. Like, come on, I'm his only friend. Cat. And that's how I view Link. It's like, it's him. He's my guy. And then, of course, Superman and Lois start getting closer together. And then Crypto has this weird dream to where he imagines like Superman and Lois dining over his kibble. And that just flashed. I was like, that would totally be my dog's dream. Like, she's eating my kibble with him.
Straight up. I went into watching this movie thinking it was going to be like,
Yeah.
I liked it so much.
Kevin
it was so
Hart
good.
was so
My
good.
only complaint was Wonder Woman's hair. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that.
No,
that
no,
drove
no,
me
no.
nuts every time she came on screen. But
Yeah.
otherwise,
It was so good.
fantastic.
It was
Okay, I
such
just
a-
want to say something about Link, your dog.
Okay.
His bad dream or nightmare would be my dad giving a French fry to another dog.
Yes. That is the. Thank God he doesn't have my earphones on. That would have terrified him. You would have traumatized Link forever.
Not really.
Another dog? No, I'm the best boy. Another person who's the best boy? Well, that's this next story.
That was a good segue.
Because The Last of Us finally gives us a trailer that puts Joel and Ellie's relationship into the spotlight. We get a really good look in this trailer on what we can actually expect to see from this season. The exchange is essentially, Ellie is just like, oh, you know, we're family. He's just like, you're a delivery. Post-apocalyptic world, his job is to deliver this woman who did not turn to the other side of the country in hopes that it can avoid a whole bunch of people from becoming clickers. Eagle-eyed fans also spotted Ashley Johnson, the actor who voiced Ellie in the video games in this trailer as well, which is really nice. It really gives us a good first look at Craig Manzig from Chernobyl, his view of The Last of Us world. And here in the trailer right there, he's just like, kill her if she even twitches. He's like, like there's a little bit of comedy in there. It looks like he's taking the original source material and he's having a little fun with it. And he's still doing something different. And obviously, Neil Druckmann is going to be involved in the series. He's executive producer. Old man, you're our resident Last of Us aficionado. How are you feeling about The Last of Us with this
I'm
trailer?
enjoying the little snippets that I'm seeing. I so want this to come out.
Well, I believe it's coming out in
The 15th of January.
15th of January. So Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey. I really want this to be a good show because as far as video games, even just watching you play through The Last of Us, I really enjoyed the story and how Joel, he doesn't want to be the father to this girl. You know, it's almost like the relationship you got in the Telltale Walking Dead game, the first one. You know, it's this guy like, hey, I'm just here to do this thing. And then they form this attachment to the child and it changes them and develops their character and eventually they die. But, or not. It's that kind of interesting thing that I think, especially with a post-apocalyptic being a very popular trope for people to go to a TV series, I think that you could really highlight this and put that, what we have deemed Netflix video game golden leaf a package on and really develop a video game into a live action series that could be really great.
Merle Dandridge, who is in the show, is actually reprising her role as the character that she played in the video game.
I appreciate it when they do that, but when they don't, I'm not upset. You know, like
I'm not upset either,
like
but
Ahsoka.
she's also a Broadway actress, so like she's coming from that.
So
that
she's
acclaim,
busy.
So oh, yeah, very busy.
You
But
know,
there is a
theater.
there is a clip of her trying to break Troy Baker in the outtakes of the game, and of the one scene at the end, and the director told her to, because he kept on dropping the prop gun, to sing her lines, and he just started singing as well.
Very touching. Very
It
touching.
was pretty funny.
It's like I was there. It's a great description.
Yeah, you have to see it.
Whew, man.
God, it's like I'm reliving it. A lot like reliving this next story because it may have you feeling that you're in the Stone Age. Because Primitive is a Stone Age survival game being built in Unreal 5 engine. There's a trailer below. Primitive, the survival game, is set in the Stone Age where players enter a world with wild creatures as well as Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. The Players need to find a way to survive the inhospitable environments by improving their gear, communications, and hunting strategies. The adventures through the open world of Primitive, players discover new locations untouched by humans because, it's primitive. Mm-hmm. One can witness in this new trailer both the peaceful existence of herbivores minding their own business and powerful beasts from the days past created in amazingly realistic detail with the Unreal 5 engine. I'm liking this because the engine is nice because it adds a little bit more realism to the light and all the different kind of aspects of this game. We see fire arrows, a lot of stuff like this. It kind of looks like that one Ubisoft did it. What is that?
Primal?
No, not it was Primal, but it was I'm brain farting on the name of the game. They just had Giancarlo Esposito as the main villain. Far Cry Primal. It's Far Cry Primal with extra steps.
Yeah, Far Cry.
We're buffering there. And of course, as soon as I say it, it fixes. But
I was like, he's come to the wrong place to ask that question.
Graphically, it's stunning, and you're getting that Stone Age kind of feel to it. And if you're into survival games, this is going to be right up along your lines, especially because there's a Steam listing. It's going to be all over there. Unreal 5 is that new engine that we're getting into with this new current gen. How do you feel about the Unreal 5 engine, even as this is like the beginning steps to where usually towards the end of the engine, they have it like amazing and they figured out everything in it. Is this a good first step for Unreal having this, old man?
You didn't have to specify. I knew that wasn't a question for me.
Specifically, we'd like your opinion. We want you to speak now. Make
Yes.
words come out, please.
Talky.
Word fusion. I
With
don't
the
know.
word box.
I love a good engine.
Okay.
You heard it here first, good folks.
Is it a 4-cylinder or a V8?
Hence, that's a good soundbite.
A W12.
Oh, it's a V12. Oh.
We got 3 today, so
Yeah.
Me?
yeah.
Please go on. Answer the engine question.
I mean, I have to look at the trailer.
Knuckles
Let me
deep
look
in my
at the
throat.
goddamn trailer.
Maybe
Hey, buddy.
there were 2 knuckles deep in my throat.
Hello.
I just came in.
Yeah, I see.
We saw that.
Say hello.
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 This was your Connor break.
Hello.
Hello. Bye-bye.
Hello. Thanks. That adjustment made by Connor.
I'm still on the fence about it after looking at the trailer. So.
Well, I mean, it's not clear if it's going to be just like action adventure, if it's going to be like Ark Survival Evolved and Venhelm and have that PvP element into it. A lot of survival games, it's very seldom you see a survival game actually just be a standalone single player survival game. There's usually always the internet involved.
You know, they're really synonymous.
Excuse me?
You can really take that
Little
anywhere
prick.
you want to go, but I'm not saying that to the old man's daughter. Descriptions are for Google. But
She's laughing.
one thing that doesn't need to be described, well, that's this final feel-good story, because if you are a 90s Spider-Man, the animated series fan, well, hold your hats, because if you wanted to look like Peter Parker, you can. They sell Peter Parker's shirt on the Disney store. You know the one,
Yay.
the green,
No.
green, white, and purple polo.
Spider-Man.
It's that with a Spider-Man logo on there. And if you ever wanted to look like Peter Parker, now's your chance. You could snag it from the Disney store. It's a 100% cotton shirt and looks like the iconic striped polo that Peter Parker wears. when he's not being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay.
So, did either of you have an idea for an end segment?
No, I didn't have one.
I have
I'm
a
sorry.
default. It's okay. Do you have one, Kat?
For it. No,
Wow.
absolutely
What do you
I
got?
don't
not.
think I was involved in the either of you guys because it seemed like he was only talking to the you two. But
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have anything either.
Oh.
I just
I thought you were going
No.
to surprise me and have something profound and like a great end segment.
playing
that's gonna
Zelda.
Rock us. Okay. I mean, that's not an end segment.
not-
That's what you're
we can't-
doing during the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of
ending.
podcasting.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
What should Disney take next?
Property, company, anything?
Right.
I think for Disney, they've already talked about it, but a smart move for them would be to capitalize on the anime market because that's the only thing content-wise they really don't have. They have animation, they have CG, they have documentaries, Marvel, Star Wars. If you have anime, because you look at besides Paramount, because they're still really new, you look at HBO Max, you look at Netflix, they all have anime in there, and anime is a big thing in the under 25 crowd.
I think, to your point, I think that the Studio Ghibli stuff, or Ghibli, I don't know how to pronounce that, and I apologize at this point. I should know how to pronounce that word. That was originally
it's Ghibli.
distributed through Disney. Right now it's with HBO Max, but I could
Yes.
definitely see them pulling that back and maybe expanding on that because when HBO tried to do an original with them, it did not go well. So I would be surprised if they don't dip their toes into the anime genre, but I think that they are already. That's me talking out of my ass right now. I do think that they're probably working on it with a house like that.
Well, yeah, because you look at Netflix,
That's
they
Star
have
Wars thing.
they have the thing with Vineland Saga,
Yeah,
to where
whatever.
their new season is going to be simulcast on Netflix. Netflix is still looking at that to where, hey, this is your studio, your project. We already stream it. Why don't you put your new stuff on ours as well? That is going to get you more play worldwide, and that's a smart play for them. That's why I feel if Disney wants to be this all-encompassing streaming network, you have to scratch that itch as well. Just to Big Brother's point, that Star Wars anime that they put on their visions was a hit. Everybody loved it. And that is scratching an itch, especially for Star Wars anime that nobody got, to where, yes, they need to do a series, a Star Wars anime series. But as far as where Disney needs to go acquisition-wise, they need a solid animation house that they can put ideas into and pump out the content.
Harumph.
Old man, what do you think? You're muted. Your mouth
You
is
turn
moving.
down the mic.
There you go.
PlayStation or Square Enix?
Going the gaming route?
It would be they've always suffered from EA and other platforms destroying their licenses. So if they actually buy their own studios and actually in-house that shit for a change, they would actually be successful. Because look at the stuff that is having that renaissance interplay with Aladdin and Lion King, two of the most hardest video games in history, is being resold on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox and Nintendo Switch, and people are still buying them.
Yeah, because there is that
Nostalgia replayability.
yes. And
And,
nobody's ever
you know-
beaten Aladdin.
What?
That old fucking Aladdin game from back in the day. That was
Alright,
so
I
impossible.
guess.
Back then, people thought like, oh, games are better. No, you gave up. You played, you kept dying, and you gave up. If you didn't, you were a masochist like the guy below me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ninja God, no, I beat that. Didn't have the time, patience, or care.
This is why he doesn't have time to watch Star Wars. Stop playing Ninja Gaiden on Ultra Hard. You might have some time to watch some Star Wars.
He also has those.
You couldn't select the difficulty.
It was ultimately ultra hard masochist. You're gonna die if you even thought you wanted to beat this game. Guess what? Ha ha ha.
But could
That
you
was the vote.
imagine if like Disney bought Sega Studios?
Sega?
They would own Sonic.
Well, that's
And
Paramount.
just
right now.
imagine. What's that?
That's Paramount
Paramount.
right now, right? Or is
It
that
is
just
Paramount.
a licensing thing?
Well, I mean, Sega Studios, like the actual IP, is from.
They probably
the actual
licensed the
go.
character.
Yeah,
gaming
something
company.
like that. Well, the gaming company what have you done for me lately? Sonic Frontiers ain't out yet.
Super Monkey Balls is good.
Super
fun
Whatty Balls?
Super Monkey Balls
Shreddy?
is good. That's a fun game.
I thought you said Super Muddy Balls. That is a
Shreddy?
completely different game. That is a
Super Shreddy Balls.
completely. That
Sounds uncomfortable.
That involves Super Sweaty Balls involves Alec Baldwin and just hope there isn't a firearm present. Katarina, you posed the question, but where would your choice lie?
I would like to see Disney expand more into fantasy content. We're getting a taste of that now with the Willow series.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if they were to buy one of these book series, especially like dystopian youth fiction series, if they were to get their hands on something like that, like Spiderwick Chronicles, like the next big thing, you know, I don't want to say that because Spiderwick Chronicles is an older series, but there's constantly book series coming out that capture, like even the Aragon series. They did one effort at the first movie. I think it would make a fantastic TV show, but I do think that they don't have enough.
Well, they have the Percy Jackson series coming out.
Which one?
Percy Jackson.
The Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Which plays right into that, but Percy Jackson relies very heavily on established lore, and they need something unique.
Something that isn't Zeus being a slut.
Yeah, but I don't think that exists. Zeus is in it. He's going to be a slut.
All right, that's fair enough.
But I would like to see them not only expand on their fantasy, but also into their sci-fi. One thing that I would love to see, as much as I love the original, I would love to see more Krull. I want to see more of the Glaive. I want to see more of those Cyclops. I want more of that.
Yeah.
Have all of these really popular older fantasy films that I'm not saying we need to remake them, but there's no reason why we can't bring something similar to this generation. And right now, I think they're kind of weak in those two spots, fantasy and sci-fi.
Yes.
Percy Jackson is a good step, but
Especially
if they were to buy
sci-fi.
something that I think Percy Jackson is popular, but there are things that are even more rich with lore and popularity that
Well,
they
look
can
at what
do
happened
and
with,
kind of go their
with
own way.
Amazon and The Expanse. They got The Expanse, and they had their whole series. The entire series was great, minus the Creole. I mean, and that is your sci-fi. You can, and Amazon and Netflix and a lot of those always, they go deep into the sci-fi. But sci-fi and fantasy is another niche that I think Disney could take a lot more seriously, especially since you want to compete with Netflix. You don't want them to turn off your streamer to go say, oh, well, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch something more sci-fi. I want to watch something more like this. That's what you need to add onto your network to keep them on there.
So you say where should Disney go next? So you remember back in, like, I would say 98 to about 2005,
When they started to
Disney
open
had this
international-
plethora of animation that was just like Treasure Planet. Like that level of animation just was amazing. And then all of a sudden it just stopped.
Yeah.
Like we had a plethora of movies that had that same style of animation, and then it just stopped being made. Do you
Okay.
The fact that they have the Orville on Disney is a good sign for me. I know that it's on Hulu right now. Disney owns Hulu, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if they were to pull some of that into Disney Plus in a more like teen fashion, I think that because it feels like there's a gap in the people that they're hitting.
Yeah.
You need to fill that gap. Anime is a great one for that. Gaming's another great one for that. But I do think that there is like a hole of sci-fi and fantasy that really needs to get filled.
You're
Percy
right.
Jackson and Willow is a great step towards that. Obtaining the distribution rights to Doctor Who is a great step in the direction. But I feel like they need to put out their own original content. Or find the next thing that hasn't been done and build on that instead of taking from established things, because you're not going to build as big an audience if it's something that they're already familiar with.
Well, here's
you
the
got to
thing.
give them something new to get them excited.
I think that yes, they need to do that, but the reason why they may not have is because with Disney, there's a certain family-friendly stigma that is attached to that network. That's why they have Hulu. Is to where, and that's why they had their other film studio, Touchstone. It was the studio they put stuff that was not for little Benji to watch with his dad. Okay,
Yeah, but that's what
Anything
it's always-
that hit the mark of PG-13 and higher.
and that's where they've stopped. And
There's
up
a
until
lot, I think, that
recently,
falls into that area that they could still do. That's why I said, like, focus
does.
on youth, like young adult fiction kind of stuff.
well, and here's the thing: young adult, yes, but there's a thing that Disney has avoided, and it's R-rated content. Anything above PG-13.
Well, aside from that, what was
not
that
for
studio
me.
that they had that did that movie with Bruce
Touchstone.
Willis?
Yeah, remember, the
Color.
mouse doesn't have
Yeah.
genitals.
But and neither did The Lion King. But it's one of those things that I think that if you're going to expand as a streaming service, if you're putting out content, you can't necessarily just be considered, well, hang on, is this rated PG-13? Because you've already proven that you have parental controls that work. So you can let mom and dad watch whatever they want and put out content for them, which they just had a whole Mickey Mouse dump. You can't tell me that your little, child or toddler is not going to be happy with Mickey Mouse. A whole bunch of shorts, a whole bunch of stuff. There was that, Grogu and the Dust Mites or whatever they put out. They're putting out a lot of kid-friendly content to where the stuff that Netflix, HBO, and even Amazon are doing right is they're putting out content for the parents as well. Well, Amazon doesn't care about kids, but the others do. That's my opinion. I don't know anything from Amazon. They may care about you. Probably not. But that's my point, is that Disney has always been lacking in that R rating. And it was very controversial when they added Deadpool and other R-rated movies. And they're like, what are you doing to my kids? Did you put a parental control up? No.
Just like a lot of the other streaming channels you have where you can put an age restriction or like a kid's version of it and allow certain things to pass through. That, as a parent, is where you need to practice your due diligence with your children.
Yeah.
It's not up to the streaming service to like coddle to just this one specific thing. Yes, Disney has always been geared more towards children, but it has always had things for adults as well. So
Yes.
there is a way for you to do it and ride that line. But I do think they're taking steps in the right direction, but I would like to see them pick up something that hasn't been done already and bring that out in a way that only Disney money can.
Like, I feel we've really, in past podcasts, really just blew Disney and how amazing the stuff that they're putting out is. But they could have been putting out better things, more variety of things. And I think this end segment really kind of highlighted, while yes, Disney, we do appreciate you and we love your content, we want you to diversify your portfolio, to put it in business aspects.
I think you're fine the way you are.
Diversify your stocks, motherfucker!
Nah, you're doing great, Disney. You're wonderful. I love you how you are, Disney. Doing good. What they say.
Well,
You're doing
Disney
great.
is an unstoppable machine, that's for sure, and it's not going bankrupt anytime soon. But I do think that they are going to end up like pigeonholing themselves if they don't allow themselves to kind of grow.
Yeah, they're gonna pigeonhole themselves into the kiddie market. Luckily, they have a series of theme parks.
Disney adults are a thing, and I would argue that it's more Disney adults money going into Disney than it is Disney, like parents doing it for their kids stuff. Like they're full on people.
I could
No
go
kids, no
so
nothing,
many-
and they just go several times a year because they love it.
I could go so many different places with that statement, Disney.
You're not going to
adults.
go anywhere with that except the long drawn out goodbye.
You're goddamn right I will, because we end off this podcast the same way with the thank yous. We want to thank you out to James Saylor, Moiselle Robinson, Mark Gervais, Matthew Kennedy, and you, Loyal Walljanger, for liking, commenting, and supporting the podcast. If you want to help support the podcast, you'll listen to the audio podcast, Lugnuts podcast on Tuesdays, and Triforce podcast. I will let you know. But pop onto our Spotify. That's where you're going to help support the podcast and give us more content coming to you sooner rather than later. And hop on over to pjandwh.com, where you're going to find all of the latest and greatest content in video form. Hop on over to facebook.com/TriforcePod to find all of our content on the Triforce. You can hop on over to facebook.com/Lugnuts podcast to find out all the latest and greatest and nerdy news from Opal to Reno. Nothing rolls without Lugnuts. And, of course, I always promise it, this is none other than a long drawn out goodbye. I am your host, Matthew Bucarell, the Mat Man. In the Projanger box, next to me we have Wonderful Woman, Katarina Thermascara. We have below me, but always above me, Christopher Bristow, the old man, and his daughter, number 2. We have Christopher Bristow, the old man. We already said him. Our omnipotent presence it is, Big Brother Stephen Bucarell. Until next week, we love you. We miss you. We want to see you then. Game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Oh, no, we're going to end it. Oh.
Cutting it off.
Oh my gosh.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, but your daughter's nickname is now forever number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2. Enhance the warp deflectors. Set us to yellow alert. You're now a yellow shirt aboard the SS Matman. Welcome. Get to the mess hall.
Don't ever repeat that phrase.
A little weird. A little weird. It's okay. That's why it's in.
Yeah, don't ever repeat that phrase. Ever again.
Oh, it was a good show. What was it I saw here in the chat? There's a couple trailers coming up. One is the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Trailer's coming December 13th. So we have that to look forward to. They released a still of Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy sitting. It kind of looks like they're upside down because her hair is going straight up. Either that or she got like electronically, static shock, like. Bzz. But that movie should be good, man. I'm excited to see a trailer for that one because that first movie was so great. What else did I see here? We're in the end credits here. Oh, this is one I didn't add in here. HBO Max, Warner Brothers Discovery they're going to be changing the name of the streaming service, and they're thinking about calling it Max and just dropping the HBO.
Headroom. Max.
I mean, I don't care what you call it. Just
It was a great show in the 80s.
put some more documentaries on that shit. I mean, they got impressive line of stand-up, a lot of different animated and anime on there, as well as the DC and all the different kind of IP content they have, but they don't have enough documentaries on there, God damn it.
For those of you who weren't around in the 80s, Max Headroom was a TV show that was on briefly about a guy who lived in a box. Computer. And he told this guy what to do. I don't remember a lot, but I
More
thought
than
it
me.
it was very entertaining.
You know more than
At
me.
80, had to be like 87, something like that.
So, Kat, I probably can already imagine, but do you have an opinion on HBO changing their name on their streaming service?
I don't care. I don't see the point, but
If we change our name,
Whatever.
you'll look at us.
Max. It's short, one syllable. Maybe they'll click on it then.
I mean, I don't get it because for me, Max then causes more confusion unless they're blending with Cinemax because Max makes me think of Cinemax. It doesn't make me think of HBO.
No.
You're banking on the reputation that HBO has, so why wouldn't you keep the HBO?
Yeah, like
Paramount's
No.
not
Been
about to
HBO
drop.
forever.
I don't get that.
Paramount's not about to drop their name in there and like, no, we're just going to call ourselves Plus. Excuse me? Yep, Plus.
Like, part of it is that they know what station it is that they're watching and what content they'll find on it. So, like, yeah, I don't
I mean, out
I
of
don't
them,
know.
I don't think there's any real. I don't think there's anything really that I would say is much of a concern that they have. I mean, you have something with HBO, which of course we discussed in the podcast because of course they're news. HBO has content that you want. They're losing Doctor Who because Disney struck the deal with the Doctor. How do you feel about that? Disney Plus getting all Doctor Who content.
I am all for that because Disney makes things more palatable to a wider audience and already has such a strong built-in audience that if it's available on Disney, I think it'll be much more broadly available. And if people are trimming down their services, they're more likely to stick with Disney that has a bunch of powerhouse things under their name. They have Disney, right? So that on its own is a huge thing. But then you also have Star Wars, you have Marvel, you have now you're adding Jesus Christ.
They're adding him too?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They're really good.
They have everybody. They just have
Everyone.
everybody. At this point,
I don't
adding
know who's
Doctor Who
trying.
to it is
I don't know who he's got
is
in the
going
back,
to
but
help
he's got the Pope
put
driving for
because
him.
even on HBO Max, Doctor Who is still a little bit niche. And I think by putting it
Yes.
on Disney, I'm putting it on Disney Plus. It's a great thing for Doctor Who.
Well, he's the perfect character for Disney because he doesn't he doesn't kill. Used to be. I mean, I've seen him kill a bunch. Or put you in the side in the forgotten.
It
part
is
of the
something
mirror.
that's pretty watchable for all ages.
Yeah.
He didn't kill them.
Whether you do classic or new Who, it's still pretty well. I mean, there are some scary episodes. Maybe not the best for younger people. You could say the same of that of pretty much anything. But I think it's a great move for Doctor Who.
It's a great move.
I
for
also
them
think that
and
it will
Disney.
make their products easier to get a hold of as well, because there's a lot of like licensing issues with getting Doctor Who stuff. So
And
I think it's a great thing for Whovians. I just hope that they don't get involved creatively.
The good part is that in like UK and everywhere, it's still going to be BBC, right where you go, where you watch normally, but it's just everywhere else. It's going to be easier. Like in the beginning, before times when Netflix had some classic Who and all of the regular Doctor Who that was available. It was a good play for Netflix, and now Disney's almost looking at that history play in the playbook here, like, you know what, Doctor Who, that's what we can get.
Yes, we will gobble that up next.
He doesn't have.
I think that Disney's very smart to acquire it because it's got such a deep-seated and if you're pulling, you're finally getting some sci-fi in there because I love Star Wars, but that is a space opera.
It is. It's cowboys in space. That's pretty much what
So,
Star Wars is. Well,
it's a great gateway sci-fi series. So like I said, I just don't want them to get involved creatively. Doctor Who struggles enough without having the Disney brush painted on it, and I'm already like burning out on some of their other stuff.
From what I've read, they're just distributing to other countries. They're not
for now.
For now, yeah. But
for now,
get Doctor Who
is
in the
this too
Disney
much?
store?
Is this light too much? Should I move this away?
No, that looks good.
No, it's fine.
All right.
But yeah, no, Doctor Who, I find
It's
that
just really bright to me.
merchandise, as well as if you can give me the episodes faster than what was available on HBO, because Jodie Whittaker's Last Regeneration is not on HBO Max. Her regeneration into the next Doctor.
Well,
which, spoiler
and
alert.
Why is there an echo?
I don't know. I'm not speaking. Yeah, it just started when Chris joined.
It's probably because my speaker is on.
Huh. So we found the problem.
Did we? I don't know.
But like, correct me if I'm wrong, but once something's on Disney Plus, it's just on there, right? They don't phase things out like Netflix and Hulu and all that, where
Unless
it's on for a little
it's,
bit and then they take it down.
I think unless it's a property that they don't own, then they, like the normal streaming licensing thing. Because I think for like a short time they offered Deadpool's still on there, but they own that. I want to say that they had some kind of movie on there for a limited time before.
Really depends on the licensing agreement.
It was like something that they were they're licensing. But if this is something like they're acquiring to, like, it's going to be now part of the House of Mouse,
Yeah.
then
Read
it's
the-
going to be there and people can actually watch Classic Who if that's something that they've wanted to, and they can just watch it all.
That would be great.
Ma-
I would love that.
Matt, you're freezing on me. I don't know if it's me or if it's you.
I think it's you. He looks fine to me.
Well, Chris is moving fine to me, but Matt is stuck.
Nah, I was fucking with you there. No.
Well,
We're looking good on my side.
even
Hang on one second. I'm just
Okay.
talking with my daughter.
Okay. That's fine. We're talking too. Doctor Who.
and Disney played Doctor Who for years before
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
They were always playing.
Oh, they were
10
playing Doctor
episodes
Who
and
Star Trek Next Generation. Those are
Yeah.
the two shows that they played.
Yeah, religiously.
Well, we have our show, and now we have that, and all right, have fun.
Well, and I
Yeah,
saw on
Disney
Disney Plus
would.
the Orville.
Oh, Disney. Yeah, no, they
Disney.
did. That did Disney.
Disney
did.
would play it. Disney never played Star Trek.
No, but
Disney-
Disney did play
On the
that.
Disney Channel, you would find they'd play Doctor Who.
It's been a long time since I watched the Disney Channel, though. I'm
That
not gonna lie.
it's been a long time since I did as well, but
It's been a long
I
time since I've had
know.
cable.
years ago,
Years and years ago. One thing I did want to add. Wanted to add in here, old man violation is to become part of Gearbox after the failed Saints Row not meeting expectations. How do you feel about that? You think it'll save him?
we
You're
can't hear you.
muted. And is there an option for do not show a thing without a video in the 3-tab thing, just to minimize it? Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I
Yeah.
can.
I hear, but I do not see anybody.
We cannot see you either, unless you have
Wild.
transformed into two.
You just
dots.
keep spinning right around.
two blue dots that
You
are spinning
spin
around each
me
other.
right round, baby, right round like a...
Wow.
Well, since we're doing nothing,
It says my signal is strong.
Use my strong hand.
Thank you, Scary Movie 2.
Yes. I did not bother buying that Saints Row, by the way. I didn't even want to play it. It just seemed like shit without Johnny Gat.
Essentially speaking.
I mean,
Emma's on in the background, by the way. That's her.
oh,
that's-
okay.
Her. By the way.
But what
The
I was thinking
Strawberry
is,
Goblin.
is there anything that can save that franchise? I mean, a good game seems to be much to ask for from the Saints Row.
An actual good storyline would actually work well.
Hello there.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a crazy idea.
You would think.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't exactly have. It's not like they had like I don't think they really messed it up completely. I think they just
No.
messed with. They didn't have a plot. They didn't have any kind of a site to go to. They didn't have any a kind of idea of what they wanted. Jedi Survivor. It's being said we're going to see a trailer for the next installment in the franchise this Thursday with the Game Awards. And there's the teaser poster just kind of had Cal and BD-8 on a. It kind of looks like not like a Mustafar world, but almost like there's a pillar in the background of the picture. And it's in the end credit folder, Katerina, if you want to take a look in the second from the top story. An older looking Cal, BD-8, android, can't really tell, it's dark, but there's like a nice sunset, orange sunset in there. He has his blue lightsaber, and I want to say that kind of looks like Vader's castle in the background, if I want to be hopeful and speculatory.
I'll have to look at the article before
But
I make any speculations.
I actually got the chance to finish that game, and I loved it. It was so good that I hopped right back in after I finished it to start my New Game Plus.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It looks rather Mustafar. But not a lot of, like, it could be anywhere. Maybe that's just a spire. You know what I mean? It could be any spire. Maybe even in the Shire. I don't know.
A Shire.
But that's where I was kind of looking at this, and I'm like, man, we're getting some Star Wars in here with this game, and EA did not mess up that last Jedi Fallen Order game. They did a really good job. But that's the thing, man. It's just I think that if they continue with this, especially even if it's not Starkiller that they're adding in here, even if it's just like random Jedi, they just kind of cut up and popped in a back to tank to siphon off, metachlorians or whatever. I think there's a lot here for Survivor, and there's going to be some DLC to where you get Obi-Wan's poncho, his lightsaber, and his gun, but no kind of actual solid stuff that you'd want to buy, Not that isn't nice if you already know. Well, obviously, you're going to want to buy this game, and maybe if it's pre-order, bonuses, all right, that'd be a nice bonus, Who's
this?
That's
Unless you're
his daughter.
like me, and you'll just wait till it hits EA access, which is included in Xbox Game Pass.
You love talking about that.
I do love talking about that.
It's a great deal, man.
It is a great deal. I'm just saying.
Oh, she's sitting in the background. Is there a way we can hide her from the video here?
Yeah. There's just get find it. In the upper left-hand corner, there's where it says there's more, and then you uncheck the option that says show
we got it now.
Participants.
We got it. Thank you. We got it. That worked. We just right-clicked, but a lot of different ways to go about it. So the last thing I have in the end credit folder is Gears of War. Netflix announced a Gears of War live action film and animated series. How do you feel about this, old man?
I am excited for the film, but I want it done right.
Yes, but I also see a prospect here. Because it's going to Netflix, I see, once again, our nerdy net neutral of Katerina. I see her being able to pick this up. Even it being a game IP, it's an interesting premise. We got invaded by some bugs, and they messed up the world, and we're fighting back. It's the Horde. It's gory. It's brutal. It's Gears. It should be. They have a chainsaw attached to their assault rifle. I was a huge Gears fan. That's why I'm really excited for this. And
I
Netflix
still love that
this.
line when it says, what was that noise? It's just the wind. Yeah, right. When did the wind say hostiles to you?
Which are you more excited for, old man? Live action or the animated series?
As much as I want to say live action, animated's got to knock it out of the park.
That's what I'm saying. If you're really trying to capture video games, which Netflix does with their animated series, look at The Witcher. Their animated was amazing. First go. That first animated movie, they had a solid idea and they really ran with it. So I'm really impressed with that. That's exactly what kind of stuff we actually need out there.
Porch, please.
In the nerdy realm, especially
Thank
streaming.
you, daughter
wise,
number 2.
because I feel that Netflix is really kind of suffering with their content. There's not really a lot coming out that gets me excited, on what they have for their service.
Katarina will not stand for that. She will disappear. Those are fighting words.
But old man, what do you see any kind of? Is there anything that you have that you can save Netflix with? Any sage wise words? Because I don't see anything on there really.
Well, what content are you saying that it's not there? Because Dead to Me is still good. That's the last season for that. There's a lot of decent shows. I mean, Ancient Civilization, which you told me to watch. I'm still
The Ancient Apocalypse. That was really good.
I'm still going through that. The F1 series is still going strong on there. I mean, there's a lot of shows on there, and then it's like Netflix is a comedy haven.
Yes, they have a lot, especially, and they just released a bunch of new comedy too. I guess where I'm more still disappointed is their lack.
Thank you. She got you your cup.
It's the lack of support in animated content. You got so popular with the amount of anime you've had on there.
The new season of Dragon Prince came out.
What anime though? Because that's animation because it's American. What anime has popped out
besides the Cyberpunk series?
That was, we were getting 10 series a year minimum from them until they're like, hey, we're going to stop doing the stuff you like.
Probably because they didn't have enough viewership to make it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But all their anime.
We were expecting more viewers. We're going to interrupt anime there.
Well, and here's the thing. They have to put up, they have to go up against Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is a juggernaut.
Maybe they decided
there's enough money to be made for them to not have to jump into that genre, especially if they're not going to give it the care that it deserves.
The thing that they did best with their anime is their anime originals. Their anime originals were fantastic. You can just pick a Netflix anime original and you'll be happy watching it. Especially if you're an anime fan. Probably mainly if you're an anime fan.
If you're a fan of watching nature documentaries, you're not going to find it so interesting.
Maybe not.
I liked Wednesday.
I was never a big Addams Family fan, so that's why I haven't really.
You don't have to be.
Wanted to click on it.
I don't think you have to be. I think the weakest part for me, for the Wednesday show, is the casting of Morticia and Gomez. People ship that relationship so hard. The biggest thing is the chemistry between those two actors. And although Catherine Zeta-Jones is absolutely stunning as Morticia and Raul, oh gosh, no, that's not his name. The guy that they cast to play Gomez.
It's a good name, Raul.
Whose name I can't remember.
Raul.
Yeah,
Guzman, Luis Guzman.
Luis
Guzman.
He
is a great Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Especially he's more comic accurate than other actors that have been cast to play the role. There is no chemistry between those two actors.
So it's like a real life Hollywood relationship.
And that's a shame. Well, they're not in a lot of the show. The show's about Wednesday, so you don't see them too much. But when they do make an appearance and they're interacting with each other.
What about Thursday and Friday?
It was their big thing, though, is that they were very attracted. Now, the one thing I did see...
People ship that relationship. But, I don't want this, I want this, I want a Morticia and Gomez. Because of the passion between the two of them. And they have a very healthy relationship. In this, that passion just isn't there.
I would much rather people say they want a Morticia and Gomez relationship rather than a Joker and Harley relationship, okay?
Yeah, that pisses me off.
Because those people are like, I need my Harlequin. Like, you really don't know what you're saying.
A lot of people are attracted to toxic relationships.
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
Doesn't Joker just fucking die?
Several times over.
well, he dies a lot, but
Many, many times he's like a cat, except with more lives.
the thing with Joker is that his relationship with Harley Quinn has been very highlighted in her show Harley Quinn, which was really great, but also Mad Love, that comic. I got to get around to finishing that, but like that's one of the quintessential like great Harley Quinn comics in there, and there's a lot of stuff just between that in that Batman world that if you can really play loose with, a lot of stuff that you can have fun with too. So I'm interested to see what's gonna come about of that with the whole DC.
Anyone who says that they want that kind of relationship has never watched or consumed anything that details their relationship.
Even if you watch,
and if so,
that shit like
they
Suicide
need
Squad,
psychiatric care.
like that's a bad relationship. She fell from a helicopter. Like, I mean, old man, how many of your exes have you pushed from a helicopter? Not wanted to.
More than once.
Not wanted to.
And more than once.
Yes. The answer
I can back that up. He totally has.
Like I said, the answer is 0, but wanted to.
Good answer.
We'll just leave that a question mark. It's probably easier.
Plausible deniability.
Like the plausible deniability of hitting that subscribe button right in the center and right where I am. That is going to be that's going to be all of the Triforce podcast in a playlist.
That's review off something fierce,
right
man.
for you. And right where Katarina is going to be the very best purge hangers and wall hangers video for you. And of course, like and comment below. Our podcast doesn't end until we hear our main man Connor say
Buns.
bye-bye.
Buns.